Just a minute ago, Emily was ready to spend a hefty amount on a bottle of perfume. But now she stood frozen, wallet open, her expression unreadable. "What is it?" Helen asked, frowning in confusion as she looked at her daughter-in-law. "Actually, maybe you should get it for yourself," Emily said with an apologetic smile, gently tucking her wallet back into her purse under the disapproving glare of the saleswoman. The woman muttered something under her breath about picky customers who didn't know what they wanted, while removing the perfume bottle from the display. "I'm sorry," Emily murmured and quickly exited the store, hoping no one would chase her out with fists. Helen struggled to keep up. They rounded the corner of the department store before Emily finally stopped. "What was that all about? Are you out of money?" Helen asked, clearly annoyed. She had convinced Emily to come shopping with her, and certainly didn't expect her daughter-in-law to back out at the last minute. "I have money," Emily replied quietly, eyes cast down. "Then why'd you change your mind so suddenly? You spent 3 hours picking something and now, nothing." Emily hesitated, then looked up, her voice firmer now. "I'm saving. I really wanted the perfume, but then I thought, I can live without it. That money would be better spent on On what?" Helen raised an eyebrow. "On a new kitchen," Emily said. "You've seen how we live. I can't keep cooking in those conditions." Helen nodded, surprisingly understanding. One thing she respected about Emily was that she never backed down from hardship, something her son, Mark, often lacked. The couple had only been married for a year. "You're a rare one," Helen said. "With a wife like you, Mark won't ever go hungry. You work, you keep the house spotless, and that boy always looks cared for. A miracle of a woman. And if a kitchen is what you need, that's the least of what you deserve." After the wedding, Mark and Emily had scraped together every gift and penny from friends and family, taken out a loan, and bought 2 small dorm-style rooms that had been converted into one makeshift apartment. The price was decent, and Helen was initially glad for them, until she visited. When she walked in, she was stunned. The bare walls were stained with old paint. The floor looked like it had survived a war, splattered, cracked, and uneven. The ceiling was flaking plaster in thick white clumps. The bathroom wheezed and gurgled, barely spitting out rusty water. And the kitchen. It was technically clean but barely functional. A chipped table, 2 stools, an old enameled sink, and a worn-out stove. That was the whole setup. But Emily never complained. She scrubbed, patched, polished, turning chaos into something that at least resembled home. Helen brought them a few things. Emily's parents helped where they could. Some shelves came from her grandmother, and a few pieces of furniture were salvaged from second-hand shops. Slowly, the place started looking livable. Every time Helen visited, she was shocked to find some new improvement. A painting that cleverly covered a wall stain. A curtain that hid a cracked window. Emily was resourceful like that. So when she said she was saving up for a proper kitchen, Helen couldn't argue. In fact, she began to feel a small spark of excitement for the project. "But how much could that perfume have been?" Helen asked. "I'm sure Mark wouldn't have minded." Emily's expression darkened immediately. "He helps, does he?" Helen blinked. "What do you mean? What's he done now?" Emily didn't answer, and Helen decided not to push. She'd find out from Mark. Later that evening, Helen called her son. "Mark, why is Emily so upset with you?" she asked without preamble. Mark let out an exaggerated sigh. "Mom, it's nothing. She's just mad because I spent my paycheck without telling her." "You didn't even warn her. What were you thinking?" Helen snapped. "Why should I? It's my paycheck," Mark argued. "I needed a computer. I told her that. It's for work." But she flipped out like I'd bought a boat or something. "Doesn't she get it?" Helen didn't say much in return, but the situation stuck in her mind. On one hand, she understood why Emily was upset. They were trying to save. On the other, she hated that the two were fighting over what felt like a small thing. The thought lingered for over a week. Eventually, she made up her mind. A few days later, Helen invited Emily out for coffee. They chatted politely until Helen reached into her purse and pulled out a small envelope. "Here," she said, sliding it across the table. "It's not much, but it'll help a little." Emily immediately shook her head, pushing it back. "No, Helen. Can't. I've almost saved enough. I stopped eating out, gave up my morning coffee runs, even switched to a cheaper phone plan. I'm doing fine." Helen gently placed her hand over Emily's. "Sweetheart, I just don't want you two fighting over money. I know Mark can be impulsive, but he means well. He said he bought that computer to earn more. I just want to help, that's all." Emily's face suddenly shifted. Her expression tightened, and Helen froze mid-sentence. What did I say?" she asked cautiously. Emily took a breath. "He told you the computer was for work." "Yes. Isn't that why he bought it?" Emily shook her head slowly. "He had to buy it because he broke the last one at work. That's why they docked his paycheck. He didn't buy it to earn more. He bought it to cover his own mistake." Helen sat in stunned silence for a moment, then sighed heavily. "I had no idea. Sorry, honey. Really, I didn't know. But I still want you to take the money. Let's just call it an early Women's Day gift." Emily hesitated, but then smiled softly. "Thank you. That actually puts me over the top. I'll order the kitchen this weekend. And when it's ready, you're coming over for tea. First guest." When Emily got home that evening, Mark was lounging on the couch. He immediately noticed the spring in her step. Well, someone's in a good mood. "Something special happened today?" he asked with a smirk. "You could say that," Emily replied. "I finally saved enough. The kitchen, I'm ordering it this weekend. No more breaking my back at that tiny counter." Mark perked up. "Really? I want a big one, wall to wall, with a built-in oven and a nice light stovetop. Something bright, not depressing." Emily smiled, half dreaming. "Exactly what I had in mind." Later that evening, Mark surprised her again, this time with flowers and a bottle of champagne. "Whoa, what's the occasion?" she laughed. "Do we really need one?" he said with a playful wink, pulling her into a hug. It was Friday. They toasted with cheap flutes and laughed over silly things. Emily even thought, maybe he was trying. Maybe he did care. She went to bed with her heart a little lighter. But the next morning hit like a brick. She opened her secret stash, the envelope where she had been squirreling away every spare penny for months. It was empty. Not a single dollar left. Mark was gone too. And somehow, she didn't even need to ask. She already knew. She waited. When he finally walked through the door, she didn't hold back. "Where is it? Where's the money I saved?" Mark didn't even flinch. "Why are you yelling? Relax." "Yeah, I took it. Big deal. I needed it more than you did. I finally paid off the rest of that stupid computer so they'll stop docking my pay. And look." He held up a shiny new tablet like it was a peace offering. "What's that for?" Emily asked, barely holding back tears. "It's for us. Movies, games, reading. So we can hang out and relax in the evenings." Emily clenched her fists, jaw tight. Outwardly, she stayed calm. But inside, she was done. She didn't say another word that day. She let him enjoy his new toy. When Helen called that evening, Emily told her nothing. She had a different plan. That night, Mark walked into the bedroom, belly rumbling. "Emily, what's going on? Are we on some kind of diet tonight?" She was lying on the bed, casually flipping through apps on his brand new tablet. Without looking up, she replied, "I'm not hungry. If I get the urge, I might drop by your mom's place. She's been inviting me for dinner for weeks." Mark blinked. "Oh, I'm just supposed to cook for myself." Emily finally looked up. "Sure. You bought the tablet, not the kitchen. Enjoy cooking on what's left of it. I'm not stepping foot in there until it's replaced." Mark stood there stunned, then mumbled something and sulked off to the kitchen. His dinner ended up being instant noodles and canned beans. The next morning was the same. And the next. For the rest of the week, Emily treated the kitchen like it didn't exist. Mark quickly realized this wasn't a phase. It was war. Helen called a few days later, and Emily finally told her everything. To her surprise, Helen didn't scold her. Quite the opposite. "Good," Helen said. "I support it. Mark's a grown man. And I'm not a soup kitchen. Don't worry, I'll feed you if you need it, but he's on his own." When Mark showed up at Helen's door with puppy eyes and a growling stomach, she didn't budge. "Sweetheart, this isn't the 90s. I don't live to fill your belly anymore. You've got a wife now. Take your complaints to her." Mark whined. He sulked. He made toast for dinner 3 nights in a row. He complained to his friends. He even tried emotional manipulation, but when Emily met his words with stone-cold silence and calm resolve, he backed down. After 2 weeks he broke. After more than a month of microwave dinners and pathetic sandwiches, Mark finally snapped. One evening, he burst into the bedroom and tossed a wad of cash onto the bed. The bills fluttered like falling leaves, landing all around Emily. "There. I hope it's enough. Tomorrow we're gonna pick out that damn kitchen. I can't take this anymore. I'm starving, I'm exhausted, and I miss the old you." Emily sat up slowly and began counting the money, calm as ever. "This isn't all of it," she said without emotion. Mark pulled out his wallet and threw the rest at her. "Take it. That's literally all I have. Just get your kitchen. And give me back my wife. Please." Emily tilted her head, studying him for a moment. Then she smiled. "You'll get her back. Right after I get my kitchen." True to his word, the next morning Mark drove her to the furniture store. He didn't argue, didn't complain. He simply followed her, nodded when she pointed, and paid for everything in silence. That night, he stayed up installing every piece himself. Screws, brackets, leveling, he even watched tutorials. He didn't sleep until it was done. Emily didn't say much. She just watched. When the final cabinet door clicked shut, and the new kitchen gleamed under warm lights, she quietly stepped up to the stove. That night she made his favorite meal: homemade pot roast, buttery mashed potatoes, fresh salad and warm apple pie. She even brewed his favorite tea. Mark sat down at the table and took his first bite like it was a religious experience. His eyes watered. For a second Emily almost felt bad. But then she remembered, respect is earned. And now he knew what it cost to take something from her without asking.